Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. In my humble opinion, Dragons of Stormwreck Isle contains a secret adventure that's contained in the art and not in the text. Okay, the text contains a Muggle adventure that you can interact with, and then the art contains a secret adventure that can be decoded by legacy dungeon masters. In my humble opinion, additionally, in my humble opinion, this Dragons of Stormwreck Isle, unlike any other official Dungeons and Dragons product, clearly highlights and uses the 1980s Dungeons and Dragons Saturday morning cartoon protagonists. Okay, and even though Wizards of the Coast says it's not them, in my humble opinion, it is them. Okay, all that is true in my humble opinion, and let's go forward from there. Today, we're going to look at Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. We're going to look at DOSI Artifact R01. So we're switching from the adventure book. I've covered every single DOSI artifact in the adventure book. Today we're going to talk about, and now we're going to work our way through the 4 DOSI artifacts that are in the rule book, right? And so R01 means it's in the rule book. 01, it's on the first page, okay? It's right on the cover, okay? Now, what is on the cover of the rule book for the Dragons of Stormwreck Isle starter set, okay? Well, it is an image. Let's talk about who's in that image. It is Hank the Ranger with his energy bow, firing it as an energy bow, okay? Other places in the adventure, we actually see him firing it with an actual string, with an actual arrow, which I think means that he leveled up and was able to get Arcane Archer, which there'd be a lot of benefits to him being able to use the bow as an energy bow or as a traditional bow, stringed, right? And, and at this point, I'm thinking he's like 24 years old, maybe at most 28, right? And, and I think there's, yeah. So, and he's really leveled up quite a bit. All right. So Diana the Acrobat, she's using her extending pole arm. And so it's Diana the Acrobat, it's Hank the Ranger, no other protagonists are there, and they are straight up, fighting a adult blue dragon. Not just any adult blue dragon. If you look at his size, if you look at his coloring, if you look at his bone structure, if you look at it, every aspect of him, the bone horn he has, all of it, this is not just any adult blue dragon. He is important for 2 reasons. One, he is the blue, if you read the adventure, it's very clear, he is the blue dragon who is slain by Runara. So he is Runara's prey. That's the title I have for him. I don't think he's ever officially named he's not officially named in Dragons of Stormwreck Isle, and he's also not officially named where, in my humble opinion, we see him first, which is in the 1983 cartoon in Season 3 in Lost Time. There is an American fighter pilot that's brought back in what looked like, I'm thinking it's an F-15, excuse me. I said before that it was an F-35. I think it's an F-15. So an F-15 American fighter jet in the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon show fights a blue dragon. And not just any blue dragon, in my humble opinion, this blue dragon. Exactly the same size, the same bone structures, the same wing patterns, the same bone horn, like everything's the same, right? If you look at those two, that's the blue dragon you're looking at, okay? Runara kills him, okay? Straight wrecks him, and just puts him into a, bloody heap. And, that's, we're told that in the Muggle DOSI adventure, Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. And it even gives us a timestamp, and it tells us exactly when it happens, and it shows us the image, right? On the cover of the adventure, in my humble opinion. All right, so you have all that there, right? And so we're looking at Hank and Diana together fighting an adult dragon. There's a lot here. Let's talk about it. So what's happening there? Okay, so one, they ain't even sweating. They're like, this is a Tuesday, right? They do not look worried. They do not look harrowed, right? They just doing their thing, right? So you got 2 characters who, in my opinion, if you look at the CR of that dragon and you look at these 2, they are level 14 at this point. Level 14, okay? And that says a lot. That means they never stop learning in all the, and it also means, and also I think this is very strong evidence, I think a lot of the images in DOSI, a lot of the DOSI artifacts point to the death of Dungeon Master, that he's dead. Now, why do I think that this image is evidence that Dungeon Master is dead at this point? Well, first of all, if you watch the show, every time Eric scratches his butt, right, or there's even the slightest sign of danger, right, Dungeon Master all up in their business, right, saying stuff that's cryptic and not very helpful, right, and telling them they're gonna have another chance to go home, right, which they never make it home, right, but he does not let them just take danger without him showing up and quipping some riddle and helping them, and often just directly casting spells to aid them, right? Well, here we are, if there was ever a point where your character's in danger, an adult blue dragon who's shooting lightning from his mouth is danger enough for a Dungeon Master's show. He don't show, right? And the reason why is, in my humble opinion, he's dead, right? And that's a huge statement, in my humble opinion, coming out of DOSI, coming out of Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. That's a big freaking deal, right? What killed Dungeon Master? We don't know that, right? But if you're paying attention, you pretty much know, I would say with a 99% certainty, that Dungeon Master is dead at this point. 100 years before when Dragons of Stormwreck Isle takes place, all of the D&D protagonists, actually we know that 4 of those protagonists, actually all of the D&D protagonists are alive, and it's pretty clear that Dungeon Master is dead, right? And the other issue is we see Diana here and we see Hank here, but where is Presto and where is Eric? One of the things we've seen is that it's not clear at all that once they start to grow up, that they continue to adventure together, right? I think they all remain in the Dungeons and Dragons world, but the idea that they continue to work together there's a lot of clues in Dragons of Stormwreck Isle that the protagonists start to branch out, go in their own ways, and get their own followers, right? I think there's a lot of evidence that Alina the cleric has become the follower of Eric the Cavalier, right? And it makes sense. They came in at level 1. They were given very rare magic items, if not wondrous items. These are super dope, super powerful magic items, and they're given to them on day 1 when they arrive in the Dungeons & Dragons world by Dungeon Master, and then they begin to level up, and they're trained by Dungeon Master. So I think it's very clear that the 1980s Saturday morning cartoon D&D protagonists have become incredibly deadly, right? And they were deadly on the world they were in the cartoon, and then they are straight wrecking fools in Forgotten Realms, right? They are wrecking balls in Forgotten Realms, right? And the reason why is I am starting to think that the D&D cartoon may be set in Greyhawk, right? And Forgotten Realms, I don't think is as dangerous as Greyhawk. So I think they would be even far more dangerous when they stepped up into Forgotten Realms. And at this point, I think they all have their own followers. And when they broke out, I think Eric probably went off on his own. I think Presto went off on his own to learn his magic better. And there's a lot of clues to that we're going to get to in one of the images. And then I think Hank and Diana went off together. Now, I don't think there's any kind of relationship, romantic relationship between Hank and Diana. There was never any clues for that in the show. I do think Hank really might have liked Sheila, but I think he also knew that Sheila was just kind of broken being in that world. And so this is showing us that, hey, Hank and Diana always stayed together and were very comfortable adventuring together. But it's also telling us once they got 5, 8, 10 years out from the first moment they arrived in the D&D world, once they moved to new planes, at minimum moving to Forgotten Realms and became planeswalkers, they split up and went down different paths to level up to level 14. So that is my humble opinion. That's what I see when I look at that. All that's my humble opinion. That's what I see when I look at the image. What do you see when you look at the image? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.